गुड करना चाहिए, जो करना है करने दो लोगों को, हम अपना करते हैं. Anyway, welcome Varta Lab. Today Anshu Patni singing.
Yeah.
Anshu and I, if you've heard my other podcast, we did an episode there together as well. So highly recommend checking that out whenever you can in the duration of this episode or after or whatever, so you can fill in on the finer details of life. But today we're here just to catch up because Navin also has worked with Anshu here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And I and Anshu have had now like we were work friends, now we are just friends / it's like family now.
Yeah.
Anshu is like my elder sister in all of this, where like mostly she has criticisms and but
That's quite a positive way to look at life.
My favorite Anshu
Fair
memory is on your wedding. She saw me and she's like, "Hey Naveen, I know you. I'm gonna stick around with you." Not knowing that Naveen is a loose cannon. Or especially on Akash's wedding, I was making sure that he has all the supplementaries to strive
yeah.
despite his family. So I was like, oh, it was nice.
I think that function, I needed company. The
Yeah.
later one I had.
They don't have come. But it was very poor Anshu. She water fell on you and all. I remember at the wedding.
Oh yeah.
It was
What
horrible.
happened to you? How?
This
Your
is the
parents were standing,
Yeah.
and auntie recognized
Yeah.
me, and as soon as you enter, dhadak upar
Arey,
se,
baap re.
and she's like, go to the mall and go change, and I
Yeah.
was like, no, I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
For the first time, I kind of reminded myself I'm a Bombay person, so you
Yeah,
know
itna
it'll be
to apne
okay.
ko pata hai.
It'll be okay.
I felt very bad. I felt guilty. एक तो I made you come till Navi Mumbai. ऊपर से तुम्हारे ऊपर पानी गिर गया.
No, but I think it was okay. Wasn't that bad.
So I'm glad. Well, thank you for coming. This is the fourth time we have attempted to schedule this. So we're
Yes.
sorry it went so many times back and forth. He was shooting a show. I am doing that movie thing. So it is
Busy people you guys are,
What
but
to
I'm
do?
happy to know that both of you are busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've
That's-
seen
that's
us
more-
non-busy.
No, I've fairly seen you. I mean, artists.
Yeah.
Artists do have that.
Yeah,
Phase.
that's
Cyclical,
Right?
like, you know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like great work. Okay, guys, don't talk to me. I'm too busy.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I'm like, hey, you want to hang out or what? I have nothing happening.
Yeah, I remember at one point in the lockdown, like I was really depressed and Anshu called me and Anshu was like, Aakash, you realize that even if there was no pandemic, you would not be working right now.
Yeah.
Remember? And I was like, oh, हाँ
This
नहीं,
is-
मैं खाली तो बैठता हूँ Wednesday को
This
वैसे
is-
भी मैं कहाँ.
This is, I think, straight after your like slew of shows,
Yeah,
etc.
yeah.
And then when you were slightly taking
Yeah,
a break
yeah.
after a lot of those ground shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the pandemic, I wouldn't feel it during the day because then like okay 1 बजे उठना है वैसे भी
हाँ.
you know breakfast lunch एक ही होता है you know
Yeah.
बिल्ली को खाना दे दिया टट्टी साफ
No,
किया
Yeah.
sorry I mean that's an important part of having cats you have a
There-
child you would know better they should even more so so then
But I want to say this here. At some point, the kid shits themselves.
cats also shit themselves only
Yeah,
like
but
you just
the-
have to, you know ऐसे कि मैं उनको ऐसे बोल रहा हूँ कि अच्छा वो कुछ शू कर
You
दो
do
शू कर दो।
realize that my child at some point of time might actually see this. Your cat might not see
And
that.
that's
my cat watches a lot of content you'd be surprised
इसलिए कह रहा जिंक्स करके बिल्ली अगर उसके घर पे
हाँ.
मैं मोबाइल पे कुछ भी देख रहा है तो बाजू में आके बैठ जाता है
बैठ
dude,
जाता है,
वो
पूरा-
देखने लगता है साथ में.
he watches the entire movie with you
Yeah.
like he knows when creatures
The
are
child
moving.
almost does the same.
Yeah.
I just have to screen it. You don't have to
Yeah.
screen the
Yeah.
content
And
with
they
your
both
cat.
have the same amount of intelligence to understand what's going on in the movie, I feel. But the child outgrows that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like even right now, like right before you came in also, she was talking and coordinating something for the
School bus didi.
school bus didi. You know what I mean? And that's one
School
thing.
bus didi
Yeah.
as in like
The
the
didis
entire
have
bus अच्छा
the didis have phones now,
Okay.
and she wanted to talk to me because they were leaving,
Hmm.
and her bottle broke, and she wanted to tell me something really, really earth-shattering, which is
Oh.
that the bottle
Bottle
broke.
broke. That's
And she didn't want to
important.
come back home and hear it from me that why did you break the bottle.
Right,
So
fair.
she was just laying the foundation.
Fair. Smart
So-
kid, yeah.
Yeah.
Softening the blow very nicely. I also used to do this. This is a very good move. This is very smart. But I think, oh, by the way, if you don't know who Anshu, she's been in the Indian film and television industry for a while. She's mainly been towards digital. Now more than ever, she's in the midst of the thicket of the savannah jungle, whatever, of Web 3.0 and NFT and all those other things that are difficult to understand for me. But right now, we're
You'll
talking
get there.
about- yeah, we'll get there.
All of you will get there.
All of us we'll all get there, guys.
As the
Yeah.
industry evolves.
Doge coins for all.
No.
Yeah. But
But-
I met Anshu right before the pandemic and all. Like I think 2019 end or 2020 beginning.
19 end.
Yeah, when she was doing an agency that ran like called CHNO, and they used to manage gamers primarily.
And
then
content.
and it took me 6 months of being signed with CHNO as a artist to ask her कि ये CHNO है क्या वैसे?
yeah Chino.
Yeah, do you know?
I have no idea.
It's the chemical molecular this thing for adrenaline.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You just picked up the words. I mean, you had to be something
I had no
creative,
idea. Adrenaline also had a formula.
Of course, it's a
not in
molecule,
the,
right?
It was not in the periodic
No,
table
it's
that we
not
studied.
it's not a element, but it's a molecule, right?
Yeah,
so
because
then,
You
I
just have
remember-
to be really crazy to go that, that
depth,
deep
yeah.
into to find a name.
yeah.
But we're all crazy people in this
Yeah.
industry.
So we had a teacher called Pankaj sir in our classes who would teach us a periodic table, but like not like you will learn what hydrogen, helium, and all means. It's like he libe, bucknokal. I'm like, what is this fucking mnemonic device for learning?
Bucknokal.
He's like
But that's actually the right way to remember
Memorize?
all your
Mug it up,
periodic
mug it
tables
up,
or whatever.
Yeah.
All
We used to do it
chemical
in law.
formulas. I
Yeah.
guess.
We used to do that in law. In every answer. And we used to have the same mnemonic for every
Thank
answer.
God you didn't become a lawyer.
Yeah, no. I swear, dude. I swear. The way we studied.
There's actually times when like my partner and I are traveling and we are like boisterous people and if you're like whatever, if we get in trouble tomorrow with cops or whatever, what do we do? And Abhi's like, Aakash is a lawyer, and I start laughing so hard. I'm like, imagine this guy in the court defending me.
No.
When I started working with him, sorry, I'm just giving you
go for
this thing. I thought because this guy's a lawyer, he'll be very involved and all of that. To quite my surprise, actually he wasn't very involved in the legal or the contracts or etc.
Yeah.
Which is a nice thing because it worked for me.
Yeah. But then I feel like the whole point of like if it's under your purview, then you should do it. You know what I mean? I have to trust you to do it. Plus, I also feel like I could understand if I made the attempt, but then the amount of time I will take and effort and my jokes likhta hai na.
And it's good because like when I used to get my like we used to get that scholarship, right, for being Catholic.
What?
Yeah. So in minority colleges, like every minority community,
okay.
you get your money back from the college essentially for being in the quota. So I had to go to Bandra court every year to do an affidavit and say कि हाँ मैं Catholic है देखो. And every year there would be like lawyers ki sir divorce, sir shadi, sir divorce. Like a normal couple is just walking, okay, husband and wife, and they're like divorce.
Oh God.
Like, so many of them in like jolly LLB types.
Yeah, there's only two types of lawyers. Like there's the one outside the court with a typewriter, and then there's the one in the Mercedes. Like उसके बीच में कुछ है नहीं
ऐसा. There's the one with the leather bound books and the nice cabinets in the background. Yeah, cigar and all.
मेरे को लगा मैं दोनों नहीं बन सकता. मेरे को तो पहले ही पता चला. Second year only.
I really wonder why you studied law.
Law is the degree of the undecided.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you are in first year law school, a lot of kids who are with you are actually medical students who are waiting for their AIEEE and all जो भी वो लोग का exam है उसका results.
No wonder there are two categories, either the Mercedes or.
Yeah, मतलब वो फिर अगर एक बार लॉ में घुस गए ना, if you are part of the network then तुम्हारा निकल जाएगा, ऐसा कोई टेंशन नहीं है. बट मेरे को बहुत टेंशन हो गया देख के कि ये साला केस ही नहीं खत्म हो रहा है. Nobody talks about cases ending only. By the way, in the 5 years of law school, nobody talks about the fact कि oh by the way तुम ये जो भी करोगे उसमें कोई केस खत्म होने का चांस बहुत कम है.
Yeah.
So then I was like ये तो स्कैम है. इससे अच्छा कॉमेडी में जोक लिखा 15 मिनट में सामने वाला हंस दिया.
और फिर
या
केस
नहीं
हुआ
हंसा या नहीं हंसा
तो एटलीस्ट मिल गया अपने को क्या सोल्यूशन था. हाँ, अगर जेल गया तो जेल गया. फिर लॉयर अच्छा हुआ लॉ स्कूल गया.
By the way, I want to know, why are we discussing JNU, law, jail, all of this on this particular episode?
नहीं बस
Is
ऐसे
there a common theme?
नहीं बस निकल गया वो ऐसे ही. अच्छा, हम मिएंडर कर रहे थे ना तो हम पहुंच गए यहाँ पे. Coming back to Anshu. But I was asking Anshu before the episode कि I really want to talk about how you went from a small city life to coming to the city and doing, and she was very offended. She's like, I am not from a small city.
No, I wasn't offended at all. I take pride in the fact that I've grown up in probably some of the best cities in the country.
Like some 10 places you must have grown up at?
Yeah.
What? Name some of them.
Jodhpur.
In
Jaipur.
order of favorite.
Coolness, yeah.
In order of favorite, I would say Jodhpur. Jaipur. Actually, Jodhpur, Badmer.
Badmer?
Yes.
Where is Badmer?
Border of India-Pakistan.
That's not a city.
It's a small
It's a town?
city,
Yeah.
whatever. I mean,
That's where you go when they say Bar mein ja.
that's Bhad mein ja.
Then, so Badmer. What was it like near the border? Did you see any?
Its border's quite far off from there. It's not
Okay.
that, but it's still a border town.
Right.
It's a border city. It's I think it's still 200 kilometers from there.
Okay,
So it's
okay,
not that close,
Yeah.
this thing. But yes, the Indo-Pakistan border was there close by. You
Yeah.
could go there. At those point of time, one could go and like see the border because there was no fencing at that point. Now
Right.
the entire border is fenced.
Correct, yeah.
There were only those towers. एक तरफ India लिखा हुआ है, एक तरफ Pakistan लिखा हुआ है.
Nice.
So yeah, there's Bardmer, there's Jodhpur, Ajmer, Jaipur, Delhi.
So a lot of Rajasthan and North cow belt area you were
Yes.
staying.
Nice.
You didn't
Cow,
stay in
what
South and
does a cow belt area mean?
The phrase is cow belt. So from
It's
Rajasthan
inspired from Bible Belt.
there's Bible belt, then there's wheat belt, then there's cow belt. So ऐसे करके belt.
Yeah.
Like it's a
Sure.
geographical.
South India में we are rice belt, yeah. Or rice and no
lungi,
belt.
rice
Yeah,
lungi,
lungi.
no? rice munde.
Yeah. A lot of non-Asian people don't eat rice, dude. It's such a mystery to me.
Huh?
Every day, like
Most of
non-Asians.
the North Indians don't eat rice.
Yeah.
At
A lot
all?
of-
At all.
But ऐसा राजमा चावल types तो होता ही है ना दाल चावल.
Rajma chawal is I think Punjab. But
Yeah.
if you see Rajasthan and Gujarat, I think there's very little.
Yeah.
There
But it
is
makes
rice,
sense, right?
Lot
'Cause not a lot of
the
rain there,
rain,
so not
yeah.
a lot of rice there. Yeah.
Correct.
Were
and you
you-
need stagnant water
Yeah.
for that.
When you were growing up, like because your dad was in the police and all, like, but was that like were you aware like of like okay, dad is in the police, that's why we moved from here to here and the posting has changed.
Yeah.
And
Very
this and
well.
that.
I mean, I guess that's there with anybody whose parent, either of the parent, is in a transferable job. And
Yeah.
a lot of us, I think now there are options and you see fathers or parents or mothers, in private sector jobs, etc. उस टाइम पे तो या तो पिताजी टीचर होता था या फिर प्रोफेसर होता था या फिर कोई गवर्नमेंट जॉब में होता था and you would move, right?
Right.
So every 2 years we would move.
Yeah.
It wasn't something, and I think after a point we started taking pride in the fact that we've lived in so many cities, and
Yeah.
I feel that was one of the best things that happened to me
Yeah.
as like during growing up years,
Yeah.
because it gave me that thing to adapt into newer environments.
And what about the other kids around you? Like when you were a new kid in a different area, how was
But
their
they would
school?
also be police kids, I'm assuming. You would hang
police
out with
or paramilitary force at India,
Right.
army, Air Force,
Right.
because these are all, like for example, Bardmer was a cantonment area.
Right.
So these are all the paramilitary, because schools, you go to common schools, right? So you would go and kind of be with other kids who are from army or Air Force and all.
Correct.
And army and Air Force guys move way more than
Okay. Police kids.
police
Yeah.
kids. So
okay.
Police also still, if you have the cadre is in Rajasthan, you'll still move around in those 3-4 cities,
Yeah.
etc. But army Air Force guys move across the country.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel like that also impacted how, like when you went to film and television, you came, first job you did was at Reliance Digital, right?
Reliance Broadcast.
Reliance Broadcast. Like, do you feel like that kind of you carried it into when you were working on shows at that level?
So not films. I mean, I've not worked in films. I've worked on television. But I started with advertising, right? But I think my foundation started because I've grown up in the smallest places possible, or cities like Bardmer and Ajmer, and Jodhpur at that point of time was small. Now it's become like this big tourist
Yeah.
destination. But you have such strong understanding of what happens at the grassroots level.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that you're a service kid, right? So you're mingling with all sorts of people. उस time पे when you're also उस time पे वो भी नहीं, जैसे Bombay has this thing about schools in a specific area,
Yeah.
right? If you go on the towards the north, right? ऐसा नहीं है कि वो एक एरिया वाला बच्चा एक ही एरिया के स्कूल में, cities इतनी छोटी है. I'm saying everybody's kids would go in the same school.
Yeah.
So we were there with all sorts of kids, whether it was some kid from a royal family or somebody from armed forces or air
Yeah.
forces, or us, or any business class kid. We were all together in the same school. So it was interesting growing up. So coming back to your question, you kind of see, you understand local music, you understand local language, you also understand food from a very different perspective. If you are growing up with people from different I would say states, right? You are understanding कि पंजाबी कड़ी भी बनता है और गुजराती कड़ी भी बनता है और मारवाड़ी कड़ी भी बनता है.
Yeah.
That kind of, so your food also becomes very nuanced that ways,
Yeah.
and that reflects in how I look at food now.
Yeah.
So coming back to this, what happens is when you are doing content, and maybe because I was interested, it helped me kind of understand what masses wanted. When I was doing television, everybody, I'm talking about 10 years back, right?
Yeah.
When TV was still huge.
Yeah.
TV continues to be huge today as well.
But it's like on a downward sort of.
I mean, it's not the priority, this thing, but I won't say it's not huge right now.
TV is
It
Hotel
continues
California right now. It's like, if you have it in your house, you have to watch it. You can never leave that channel. It's like that. My parents just like they're on their phones all the time.
Yeah.
They're
And they
always
still have
on.
the TV
They
on.
have
The
TV on.
TV will, if you have parents, TV will be on.
It's white noise.
We probably might not use it,
Yeah.
but our parents are still using
Yeah.
television,
Yeah.
right? And also, let's not forget tier 2, tier 3, which is your 60-70%
Yeah.
of the audience. So, when you look at television, you need to understand what the grassroots level, audience wants. And that really helped me while I was working on television. And eventually digital, because digital also kind of picked up, because you were talking about middle class family insights, you were talking about a girl growing up in a small
What
town,
were some
big
of
town.
the shows you were working on at that time, to give us context?
So when I was at Quan and now Collective, I was heading the television business, and we used to package a lot of content for television, cast for a lot of non-fiction and fiction shows, which continues to be, I'm assuming, the thing for them.
Yeah.
But you'd work on all possible non-fiction shows, right? You get all these big actors to kind of be part of the show,
Name the show na. Why you're not naming
So,
shows?
okay. So, shows like Jhalak Dikhla Ja, shows like Fear Factor, shows like all these dance shows, any of these reality
DID.
dance shows.
Nach Bali.
Yeah,
The
Nach
Hustle
Baliye.
one. Did you do the Hustle one also? What was that? The rap one?
That was not
No,
me.
that was not you.
That is right now.
No, the one with
Badshah.
Honey Singh.
Oh, that was Raw Star.
Raw Star.
Yes.
Raw Star.
Yes.
You did Raw
Hustle
Star
is
also.
right now.
Haan.
Yes.
I remember you were
I-
pregnant during Raw Star.
Yes, I was.
The way she tells us, you didn't even tell. This is a great story. Please tell us this story. She didn't tell anyone that she's pregnant only.
No, for the first.
Why?
Okay, for the first 3 months, I got to know after obviously 2 months that I'm expecting, and it was 2 months into the show already. I think the timeline was just that. So I waited for another 1 month to let close ones know,
Right.
which you normally don't tell in the first trimester. So that was the
Yeah.
only logic. And then I went and told, and then everything was very cool. But I
Yeah.
think the first 2 months or two months
Yeah.
were a little bit of a struggle personally at my end.
Yeah, but I think as a woman in that situation also, right? Like there must be an assumption from otherwise the work people also, yaar, you're pregnant, you won't be able to see this through types.
No, actually no. I was very, very blessed with, fantastic team of people that I was working with. Whether it was my immediate boss Vijay, who now heads Collective, whether it was Vijay or anybody else. I think I'm one of those people who have amazing stories to talk about workplace support, during my pregnancy and
Yeah.
childbirth later. So I actually don't have any of those stories. I was really, really fortunate, and I keep saying this that these are the kind of instances women should share more,
Yeah.
because you kind of it kind of inspires other office environments to kind of create those things.
Yeah.
Coming back to pregnancy, so I didn't tell first 3 months, but the day I told them, they were like, okay, fair enough. You have flexible working hours, you can come, go anytime you want. And my home was very close to office, so it was just easy for me. So pregnancy was honestly very touchwood, but very, very smooth and amazing. I was working throughout till the last day.
Lovely.
And I think that kept me
And
happy.
doctors also say that, right? Like you should keep working if you can keep working. Unless
If you
there
don't
are
have any other issues and all of that, and if your doctor permits you, you should.
Yeah.
In my case, they did, and it was
My mom
comfortable.
was working when she was pregnant with V-Man. And the bomb blast and all happened at share market.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. मैं तो
She's a
बाल
rock
बच
star.
गया. हाँ,
Yeah.
मैं बचा उसका क्या? ये क्या है? मेरे को कुछ तो.
No, I'm your huge, your mom fan.
Yeah.
I think most of our fans also. Season 1, episode 2.
Yeah. Season
Dina
1,
Mehta
episode 2.
killed it.
Yeah, Anshu and mom did an episode together, and
Yes.
they did it at 5 in the morning because that's when my mom is
Was
free.
yeah.
No, I have to be very fair. We tried doing it at other time, and there was some internet issue. And then she
Okay.
said, I asked her, when are you free? And she said, I start at 5. So me being me, I
Yeah.
said, yeah, okay, I'll start at 5.
It's such a challenge, no? Because then, like, a lot of my last year when I was working on the show, also I would set up calls with like people across the entire day,
Yeah.
and it's so unfair to my partner because he has to listen to me interview people constantly, right?
Yeah.
And then he can't talk, he can't do anything to disturb me, and the entire day, poor chap was on his phone.
Yeah.
And I feel bad
But
for him.
it's fantastic that you can do it in front of, like, when I used to record the podcast episodes
Yeah.
from home. I would shut myself in the room, and then because
She was
otherwise,
so conscious, dude. She was so conscious
Yeah.
throughout the process.
I remember.
If you haven't heard it, Anshu has a question, has a podcast
There's a question.
all question.
called Questions I Want to Ask. I am one of the producers on that podcast. I like to feel I am the extra finger just pushing along when she does it.
No. For the record, he's been the backbone of that particular podcast, and one of the reasons I created that podcast. So you're definitely
that
not.
I will take credit because she
Huh.
didn't want to do it only. She's like, who wants to listen to me? I'm like, but if you don't talk only, if everyone
Yeah.
has that attitude, then nothing will get made.
But then I think like I produced it for a couple of months also in the middle 2021 around that time. And I remember like going through the backlog also, like so many powerful women whose stories don't get told like the
Yeah.
way they should be told.
Yeah,
Right? Like
but-
as you told about like working through pregnancies and that whole work environment where you have to carve your own niche and respect that like that the entire workforce has to be with you, right? You can't just
Agreed. I mean, every woman will have a new story to share,
Yeah.
and I feel that in a world which is slightly in a, we're trying to adjust to women working in the women in the workspace, right? We're finding comfortable points there. All these stories need to be shared. Women need to come out and talk about the fact that these are the problems they went through or go through. Or these are the good things that have happened, because both of these things will motivate people further to kind of, create better work environments.
Yeah, so my sister, second sister, she's very lucky because like I met her 2 days ago, and she's working from home only because like her older child is autistic, right? And he needs like ultra levels of attention. You can't just like abandon him and come back to him 10 hours later. So like they have like a boxing thing in the house now.
Okay.
For because like autistic kids tend to like do their fingers or they grind their teeth too much.
Okay.
So certain action is repeated to the
Energy,
point. Yeah. So they have to expend it somehow. So then
Yeah.
like my nephew is boxing in adult, and I was like fully like I'm like yeah. I'm like $1 million baby. It's good. So I'm just like I'm very proud of her that like she's someone who used to, for example, her workplace is in Malad. Okay, she
Yeah.
lives in Mira Road, and the therapist for the boy was in Bandra. So she would wake up at 4:30, catch the pickup would happen at 5 for her, work all day, 4:30 leave office from there, from Malad come to Mira Road at 5:30, pick him up, go to Bandra, do a therapy session for 2 hours, come back at like 9 at night, and then do dinner and then sleep, right? So
Wow.
she did that for like 2-3 years back to back, and I'm just like hats off to like that commitment and the love that a mother can somehow surpass everything through.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, the
best
love
thing.
helps you surpass
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Amazing.
And I've seen great improvement. Like now he speaks properly. Now he's understanding
Right.
more and more
Yeah.
things. It's a lot of work. Like
And
when,
in those initial years with autism, you have to do like 10x the work of anyone else because the kid, like just to get those kids up to like basic operational level
Yeah, the
through life.
therapy years are
Yeah.
difficult.
he would have he would have done much better before, but then there's a school in Mira Road run by the church only called Anubhav, and that's a school for special kids. Like I've done like volunteered for them. I've played guitar and all that. So I was also like you send them because there are teachers who are trained to deal with kids from all special backgrounds, right? But her mother-in-law was like, oh, she went there that day, and then in a most like fucking cold shoulder manner, she was like, what are these other mad kids? And she's doing mimicry of like the Down syndrome kids and all. My grandchild is not like that.
Yeah.
And it took him out. So they developmentally stunted him for 2 more years because of that prejudice.
Right.
So it's just such a uphill climb for her alone, because then husbands.
Yeah, because
and
she
all that.
has to argue with the mom-in-law. She has to convince everybody
Yeah.
if the other
But
person is not involved.
Women, man, I mean, you can't really.
Yeah.
It's amazing how your sister has done
Done
that.
that, yeah.
And also, not just that, right? I mean, she would have had multiple work challenges.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
your brain is compartmentalized in
Yeah.
like 10 different things at any given point of time.
Yeah.
This is one of the things I spoke to your mom about, right? And I asked her, how do you do that? And she had something very interesting which has stayed with me till date. And it is like she writes everything to the T, including food preferences for guests who are coming in. So she knows this one's Gen, this one's non-Gen, this one likes to eat, this one whatever, things and she said, I have everything written. And that really made so much sense.
Absolutely. Literally yesterday, like after a month of just dilly-dallying and everything, I also अभी काम करने का है तो I also ended up taking a notebook out and I ended up noting everything down in the notebook only.
Yeah.
It's the best way to do it also, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that conversation and when you're speaking to women and they're sharing how they are actually dealing with things on a day-to-day basis, simple things like family and husband and work, etc., and they're giving you small tips that really helps.
Absolutely.
And I think that worked because a lot of women kind of came forth and said that, oh, this was very interesting.
Yeah. I think, and now I think I see it more in a pronounced way because now we're married, we're living with my parents. Shubho has not lived with parents since she was 17. So now for her also it's a big, I mean, it's like a world changer. Ki, oh fuck, abhi idhar reh rahe.
Yeah.
And it's not like there aren't freedoms, but even those small restrictions on freedoms also make a difference.
Yeah.
I keep explaining to my parents, I keep telling them, you live in a house, we live in a room. Because the whole house is not common space for us, it's common space for you. So I mean, and it's more like now I see more that gender divide also, where she is expected to do things.
Yeah, and you're not.
And the only reason is kyunki main ladka hai. And it's just so dumb. Like, and it's weird also because I never saw it in my house because my mom just like handles everything the way she does. But it's so fucked up, yaar. It shouldn't be happening.
I get
but
yelled at.
we're all learning actually.
Yeah.
Even our parents are learning, right?
Yeah.
They've not seen this. If you see, their conditioning has been where your mother or your father would have seen the mothers doing things for the father and the house.
Yeah.
So somewhere, even if you want to change the conditioning or the thing which is the belief system in your head, will not want you to change.
Yeah.
So I was talking about my sister, right? Like a year ago, she reached out to me and said that I'm suffering from panic attacks. Okay, and here's the thing, right? For the longest time in my family, I've been the only one harping about mental illnesses.
Yeah.
I'm like, physical illness is one thing, but your brain also is a part of your body and it suffers in a different way. Nobody believed me. I told them about my anxiety, I told them about my depression era. Nobody gave a shit. And now, like when this happened, they were like, oh, it's real, because then they are seeing there's a real-time effect because my sister shares more than I do. So then they were like, then she's like, what do I do about this? And I'm like, now is the time to seek medical help.
But tell me something, I mean, very interesting thing you said, and I've been thinking about this. Tell me, do you think in normal middle-class families, speaking about mental health has become common?
Now it has.
Like
very slowly, very steadily.
Very slowly.
I think
because I still don't see that as a conversation. And I'm talking about, I mean, I'm a Marwadi, right? And I'm talking about normal middle class, upper middle class, lower middle class families. I still don't see. We are talking, I think, because we are part of the content ecosystem, creator ecosystem, which is way more vocal.
No, and with my parents also, like my parents have now, after many years of like explaining and read articles and this and that and showing them, they've come to accept the idea, okay, our kids can have mental illness. But they still won't accept that they can have
mental illness.
Ki, if I feel ki, okay, maybe I see you're a little anxious, you're feeling little more jittery. Unko nahi hota hai sir. Ye tumhare generation mein hota hai ye disease. So that is still like a big, even where you have made inroads, it's still a very long way to go.
Yeah, but it's still not a conversation. And speaking about therapy or going and taking a therapist, help of a therapist, right? It's still not a conversation. No matter how much we speak about it on social media and say ki therapy le lo ya
social media is like an echo chamber. Like मैंने बोला, मेरे follower ने बोला हाँ यही है, और फिर बात खत्म हो गई. उसके माँ बाप को दिखाना है ना वो video. Like they are the ones who need the education.
There was a lady from our church in our area, and her name was Mabel. She's passed away now, RIP. But she had a severe mental condition, okay? And she was married to a man who was also mentally...
told me the story,
I told you the story, right? My mom was the area leader. She was responsible for taking care of all the families, making sure that church has census, everything that poor families need ration, they get all of that. They would keep checking on this family again and again, but they wouldn't let them inside the house. Okay? And the whole society and everybody would just do this. They're like, हाँ, ये लोग पागल है. No empathy, nothing, okay? One day, they had to call social workers because the neighbors told them that they have a child at home, which nobody knew about. There's a grown-ass child who's around 8 years old who's tied up from her leg to the bed, kept inside the house.
Wow.
And when they went inside, she had dirtied herself all over. Like, shat herself. Like, she was just like... And she was not mentally challenged. But because the parents don't know how to take care of the child...
And they were the parents.
They were the parents. And they had just abandoned her like that, okay?
My God.
And then social workers had to come and rescue the child and everything. And then the mother also, like... To make ends meet, she would also do prostitution, right? So, like, all of these aspects came out later when this whole situation happened. Until then, we were just like, oh, it's a family that's fucked up in the area, right?
You didn't bother taking the next step to get to know them.
Everybody would be like, they're crazy.
This is still, you're talking about an extreme case,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
we're not talking about normal, like, you know, day to
Everyday
day
stuff,
this
yeah.
thing where
Yeah.
a lot of us are dealing with.
So when this
mental
thing
health.
happened, I remember my whole thing was like, this is terrible, and everybody in the church was like, oh, how could this happen? When not understanding that there's such a societal situation where people are pushed to their limits, right?
Yeah.
And then this happens. Somebody kills themselves. It's not because they were cowards. It's because everything kind of came crashing for them.
Yeah, there's like a whole chain of evidence you
Yeah.
can go through over time.
The mind broke, and then
Yeah.
what do? We put them in jail in the country for failing on suicide. It's so scary, dude.
Hey, that's been overturned, huh?
It has been, yeah.
Yeah, now you can't
Yeah.
go to jail if you attempt suicide. On that positive note, we'll be back after this break. This is Varta Lab, I think.
Yeah. Hi friends. Before you go to the ads, one quick announcement. We are now offering memberships.
YouTube memberships on Varta Lab. Don't worry, we're not reducing episode frequency or anything. You still get the episode every week. We're just giving more stuff on the YouTube memberships.
Ad-free audio, live access to our shows,
Early episodes.
Telegram group that you will be a part of.
And we'll do weekly catch-ups there as well. You'll get clips and bits that don't go into the episode. And we'll do live Varta Lab shows starting with Mumbai and in the rest of the country and hopefully one day the world.
So now when you see the join button on the Varta Lab YouTube channel, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Press it.
Become a member now.
Hello. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. We are back with the second season of How to Citizen, hosted by Meghnad and Shreyas. The first episode of second season drops on February 26th. And guess who is our guest? Omar Abdullah, former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. So catch the episode now on the All About Now feed on IVM, YouTube and all streaming platforms. On page 10, myself, Nikhil, Meghnad and lead editor of International Initiative at Your Story, Sindhu Kashyap, discuss income tax raid at the BBC offices, GCC countries investing in startups and more. New episodes are out on the All About Now feed. On Think Fast, Varun and Suchita discuss women's IPL auction, Air India's purchasing Boeing planes, and a series of other interesting things. On Varta Lab, joining Navin and Aakash is singer and songwriter Nush Lewis. They talk about her music career and what it takes to create great music. And on Postcards from Nowhere, Utsav uncovers the history of the most beloved flowers known to mankind. Once again, don't forget to visit our merch store on the ivmpodcast.com website. We have some exciting stuff for you. Follow us on social media. We are IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. If you like our shows, spread the word, tell your friends and don't forget to rate and review them wherever you're listening to them. You'll also find all our shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week, Yono SBI, Capgemini and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thank you for making this possible.
Going on sets is the worst possible set of timings, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
especially if you're shooting a
My God.
standing show and all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Then it's कोई
And-
timing ही नहीं है.
हाँ
It's
यार.
entrapment. Like sometimes on shoots, we just see time just slipping by. Hours and hours is gone,
Yeah.
and no sense of like खाना कभी मिलेगा. Like खाना तो मिल जाता है. That's one thing that
Khana
production-
or chai is the one thing that is
Yeah.
assured on any set. Like,
Yeah, set food is the best food
yeah.
in the
for
world.
gas. Yeah.
Depends on, you know.
Who's catering?
Yeah, I was catering.
I've been part of the shoot recently, and I've been going on set early morning. They call me at 9. They never start before 12. But every day I reach at 9, and every day I used to have this keema there. Okay, I used to have half fry anda and a keema, as is the way. And I used to be very happy, like, wow, I'm getting a mutton keema, subah mast
But that you're
breakfast.
also going on a film shoot, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Film shoots are way more slightly lavish and
Yeah.
relaxed and easygoing.
Yeah, and It took me like 5 days on shoot to realize that was not mutton keema. That was some veg korma keema thing that I was eating.
Nice.
And in my head, I was like, I don't necessarily mind this deception.
Yeah,
Like,
if
ये
no
तो
one
tasty-
tells you, you'd never know.
Yeah, ये टेस्टी डिसेप्शन था. ये कभी-कभी डिसेप्शन टेस्टी नहीं होता है, फिर मुझे बहुत गुस्सा आता है. मैं बोलता ये क्यों मेरे को खिला दिया वीगन
Yeah.
चीज.
But why is veganism's whole struggle to
उनका वही है,
Yeah.
वीगन. हाँ, वीगन लोग को बनने का ही है
yeah,
नॉनवेज.
ये for chicken,
हाँ.
for chicken.
No, I'm
But she's-
almost a vegan.
Yeah, but you're
So-
like a
Why-
veg person who became vegan. You know?
I mean, it's more for health, this thing, because
Yeah.
I'm lactose intolerant.
Correct.
So it's more because of that.
Hmm.
And I think I like it now. And now, I mean, there are so many options. So it's...
But I think as
It's
an
nice.
Indian person, there were already so many options.
No, as Indian person, you have ghee and everything.
Yeah.
नहीं, I'm
technically.
saying अगर तुम बस
Malai, ghee,
if
paneer.
you- वही मैं कह रहा हूँ, अगर तुम बस वो 3 dairy निकाल दो, सब्जी wise we have a plethora of sabji that you can eat यार.
Yeah, people cook.
Yeah, you don't have cheese. in
Watermelon
everything.
rinds is also bhaji.
Oh yeah, it's
yeah.
a very popular Gujarati Marwadi
Yeah.
sabzi. It's
I
Dude,
tasty.
पापड़ का शाक खाते लोग यार. पापड़ का
Why
सब्जी
you,
बनाते.
why you naming all the Marwadi dishes which
No,
I'm
I'm just-
which I like and
I'm
Which
just
is what he's saying, that Rajasthanis pioneered the vegan movement
Yeah,
without even knowing
without
it.
even
That's
knowing
true.
it.
Because the
That's
lack
true.
of like proper like as you said, ki there's no water supply constantly, there's no
Fresh,
rice. So we just rely on that.
Dry
Like
foods,
as Mangaloreans, we like कि rice है, okay, बच्ची पकड़ो, डालो coconut curry, हो गया.
हाँ.
It's simple.
जो अगल बगल
जो
में मिलता है
available है,
उसी
हाँ.
से बनता है ना.
Like I recently tried gatte ki sabji, and I'm just like, what is a gatta? I'm googling ki is this a fucking thing that grows in the trees or whatever. And
What
like, no,
is a
it's just
gatta?
dough balls. It's just dough balls
yeah.
that I put in
But
the gravy.
steamed.
Yeah, steamed, but it's so delicious. I was like,
Chickpea flour,
yeah.
steamed dough balls,
in a rich gravy.
in a rich buttery gravy.
with it
supposed to
aromatic
be
scent,
had
yeah.
with you know
Satpadi
fluffy you know pancakes.
Just like whatever, dude. Anything is
She gave up at the end. She's
Yeah.
like pancake.
Yeah, मैं रोटी ढूंढने की कोशिश कर रही थी, सूखा रोटी.
मैं एक्चुअली अभी शादी के बाद बहुत ज्यादा कुक कर रहा है, बट ज्यादातर मैं अभी नॉनवेज बना रहा है बीवी के लिए. और मेरे को बिल्कुल बनाना आता
That
नहीं
started
है.
at the house?
हाँ, no, not at the house. What I usually do is I go to a friend's house
जुगाड़.
and I'm like, तुम लोग ऑफिस से आओगे ना, उसके पहले मैं तुम्हारे लिए डिनर बनाता हूँ. तो फिर मैं 3 लोग के लिए मैं मस्त बना के. But I really enjoy that process now.
I remember, you know, Aakash and I on calls sometimes during COVID, and वो रात को 11-12 बजे हम फोन पे लगे हुए हैं, कुछ डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, और एकदम ऐसे कोने में जाके एक अलग से पतीला निकाल के उसमें अंडा पका रहा है. And I'm asking him because I know who he is, I know his mom, so I'm asking him कि भाई क्या सीन है. He's like नहीं, ये एक पतीला अलग है.
Yeah, it's like so the thing with cooking eggs at my house is I can't cook the eggs when dad is at home or when dad is awake, like, and generally around. So if after he leaves for office in the morning, I'll cook myself one nice egg fluffy dish or something for breakfast, and after he goes to sleep at night, after like if
He must be having smell issue.
Yeah, smell issue. But the thing is, there is like I've tested this and it's purely psychological, where sometimes even if we've not cooked egg and he thinks we've cooked egg, he gets the smell.
See, I don't eat eggs, and I can smell it. So
Yeah.
Egg is a very psychological smell also. It doesn't like, it gets
Yeah.
deeply embedded into your system.
Yeah.
Like I remember of my sister's roast. The roast is the haldi ceremony for us Catholics, okay?
Huh.
Where they put coconut milk and everything. And for her, like I was ready with
इसमें भी coconut डाल दिया.
exactly.
देखा इधर भी उगता है बाजू में, क्या करेगा?
Do you want to look like a jaundice patient on a wedding, or do you want to look fair? Tell me that much.
तू ये छोड़ भाई, मेरा फोन का कवर पीला हो गया dude, मेरे हल्दी में.
Exactly. So coconut milk is nice only. It gives you like nice. It smells beautiful. It's like
Right.
nice coconutty. There's an oily little after effect also.
Okay.
Sheen and everything. But over time, people have bastardized it by throwing like they'll put paint, like acrylic paint, eggs, beer.
I remember my
Yeah,
haldi.
fermented fucking pickle and all that shit.
My haldi, they put mustard oil. They straight up emptied a bottle of mustard oil on me. And they are saying कि इससे हल्दी easily उतरेगा, but ये हल्दी लगाने के बाद डाला है वो लोगों
Because
ने.
we're marrying a bank.
And there was this one moment where Dhaval, we all know Dhaval here. Dhaval was like putting the oil and my dad is like, don't do it. And Dhaval just like, he was like, what? And he just kept pouring it. And my dad is like, the oil. And he looked at my dad, like made eye contact and waited for the bottle to finish.
Oh, this oil? Which?
Oops, अभी तो हो गया.
So we all got like 6 eggs, okay, for my sister's thing. And like 4 of my cousins have taken and I have 2, okay. So one by one we go, like while doing the roasting.
Breaking on
a fuck. I'm too physical for my own good. There's a 2-3 fola, she's like, fuck, it's hurting.
Yeah.
So now like the rest of them, दो लोग ने यहाँ पे मारा, okay. तो 5 अंडा हो गया, I have 1 left in my hand. And my mom is not allowing me to go in that circumference only. So मैं दूर से निशान लेके
shit.
करके उसको यहाँ पे लगा, dude. And she was like, it's still Red Sea on the wedding day and all that. And it's tank. Till the wedding day, it's tank.
Man.
3 baths and couldn't
See,
take
I don't
one.
know why people have to do this, you know.
So for my second sister's roast, this was exactly the plan. To stop all of this shit, okay?
Yeah,
So then my uncle, who's a priest, he comes and he's like, why do we do the coconut milk? It's because then we tell you that your life will be precious, it will be pure as milk. And when you put an egg, what do you tell them? Your life will be rotten. So everybody went eggs slowly hiding because they're like, oh shit, yeah, it makes sense. Like we're wishing bad shit for them. But my cousins fucking roast, dude, they're leaving the chair and they're going to the bath. They're still pouring beer and whiskey and what.
That is too much.
Madness.
Yeah.
ये हम लोग गुजराती मारवाड़ी लोग में नहीं होता.
नहीं होता.
Yeah.
Like at most you can manage to get drunk, but you
Yeah.
can't do like ऐसा
Yeah, but
outward
alcohol
display
is
of
still
sharab
not
and all. Yeah.
alcohol. There's no public display
Yeah.
of alcohol in in
Like one of my cousin's weddings, I won't say which cousin, but one of my cousin's weddings, there was
One of the 50 million.
so somehow there were some friends of his who were North Indian, and they were very like in North Indian weddings, the alcohol is a part of it. So they were like
Punjabi.
obviously.
Please specify.
In
Punjabi
Punjabi
weddings.
weddings specifically. So this guy was like, okay, we have to have alcohol. How can we not have alcohol? So वो लोग अपनी ही शराब लेके आए. They took a table from the hotel. This hotel is clearly telling us no booze, no booze, no booze, no booze, no booze. Somehow they have spoken, they have convinced. And now there is a bar in the wedding.
Oh wow.
Without anybody's knowledge. लड़के वाले को नहीं पता, लड़की वाले को नहीं पता कि बार है शादी में, पर बार है शादी में, मस्त चल रहा है बार. और उस पे जाने से सब लोग डर रहे. Because everyone's like, this is how can we
You
go?
know, that's the transition that has happened from गाड़ी में चुपके से दारू पीने से to coming to somehow that happened. In Gujarati and Marwadi weddings.
Yeah, I mean, you all know my uncle ka that story where the cops caught my uncle who is a cop. His wedding mein cops came and raided the wedding for alcohol. Without knowing that it's their guy only who is getting married. So it just happens. I feel like when it comes to these bigger celebrations, what's also changed is that our social circles are way wider than they used to be.
Yeah.
Like when my dad was getting married, the
It's
people
only the
that
family.
More or less family. Like 90% family and 10% maybe people from work and whatever. Or 90% में I would say community भी आ गया, ये वो आ गया.
Yeah.
अभी ऐसा हो गया मेरा
It's become different set of people.
Yeah. So like in my wedding, for example, like it was a very clear, like 60% was my parents' generation का ideology वाला लोग and 40% was my people.
I think that's become a problem even on when you do your normal functions, right? Like for me, now if I have to do a function at home, I have to think whether I call my
Work
community
people,
work people or the extended family, and it's a hassle.
Yeah, right. And it's weird because those people are as much family as these people
These people are, exactly.
अभी 10 साल से तुम किसी को जानता है, you meet them twice a day or whatever, thrice a week, every week, and then there's a cousin who you've not met in 25 years.
Yeah.
वो एक बार US से आए थे स्कूल में वेकेशन के टाइम पे, तो obviously उसको मैं उतना अटैच नहीं रहने वाला है ना.
Shit, dude, मेरा एक cousin आया था मेरी बहन की शादी के टाइम पे only because and like we have not interacted with this. He's my father's older brother's son, okay, and these guys were like this guy was throwing his underwear in the washing machine with the rest of us. And we're like, when did you think you were as cool as this, that we are okay with washing your underwear in the washing machine, dude? It's like, fucking go and wash it on your own.
Really?
Yeah, it was very awkward. My sister had to be like, listen, I'm going to marry in 2 days, I'm not washing your underwear, listen, please.
But you don't have, the washing machine washes the underwear, no?
Yeah, but
Okay,
like...
why are we discussing this?
No, this is a very interesting point for me, na? Don't you think this is something we need to discuss? एक second.
Yeah.
सबका चड्डी साथ में धुलने में problem क्या है?
क्योंकि it was disgusting. There was a...
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we are not going any
I didn't want to
further.
say that. He asked the question. I was just like, I was leaving the bare brass tacks out there.
Fair.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me there was skid marks. That's all I'm saying. If I had known there was skid marks, I would not have had this.
Malad miscarried her bike. Yeah, it was disgusting.
Hey, one of the fun things about being managed by Anshu for a bit was that her daughter is like a well of joy. Because कभी भी ऐसा अगर कुछ भी चल रहा है तो she'll show me couple of videos of, because I miss my nephew anyway, वो भी दूर है.
Yeah.
And it's so cute. They make vlogs and all together, dude.
Yeah,
They don't even
that.
upload. They just
We don't upload.
They just make it.
Yeah.
And it's just her telling what all they did in the day and all. And it just brightens my day.
So basically, during the lockdown, when I started the podcast, she's seen that journey from thinking of the podcast to then getting guests and recording it, and then she's seeing it, and she's 8, so she understands content, right? So first she saw it, she started watching it, then she started asking questions on, oh, who's your next guest? Oh, why are you getting only this many views? She literally asked me that. And I actually went back and told him, I said, listen, she's asking me about views.
No one keeps it real like a child. Yeah,
Just
like,
imagine.
Yeah.
Like, Anshu's coming and saying, यार मेरी बेटी मेरे को. And I'm like, dude, मैंने comics को सुना कि मेरा बाप मेरा नहीं है कर. But like.
Yeah.
I remember doing an Instagram live for one of these, gaming, I think some forum I did an Instagram live, and there were very few views on that. And she's like, oh, you did something on Instagram, and she knows what Instagram is. I said, yeah. The first thing she noticed was, why are there so less views on it?
Yeah.
And then she says, oh, you know that on Art for Kids Hub, this is that art. There's a art activity channel that she watches.
Correct.
They have their views in millions. I was like, sure, but I'm not doing it for that. And then of course I had to.
Yeah. Good you explained. Otherwise she might spend her life thinking that the views are the only thing.
This is the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of do a little bit of a telling her backstory to why you do certain things,
Yeah.
etc. But it's interesting. She's learned the podcast, and then there came a day when she was like, "Oh, I also want to record a podcast."
Yeah.
And she's quite a talker. So we now record podcast on the phone, which she thinks her mother will upload one day, which I'm
But
not
that's a
allowed to.
great 18th birthday gift.
Yeah, it's like this mega collection of
Make a
this.
collection, edit of all of her these things, her growing up. It'll be
Like,
so great.
Kuch
My
hota hai.
phone is only full of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even like when my nephew comes to India, my phone is full of his videos and photos and whatever else.
No,
is
no,
going
my
on.
phone is full of, "Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are watching this, and today
Yeah.
we are watching that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think if Kuch Hota happened now, she would leave YouTube videos and not letters for a child?
Oh.
Remember Kuch Hota hai?
Yeah, of course. I
Anjali,
remember.
when she becomes 8
Yeah.
years
No,
old.
I think the letter would be the same device because it's very more intimate than a YouTube video.
I mean, I write emails to my daughter, so I've created a email account for
Yeah.
her. This is more from a record keeping
Yeah.
perspective. And sometimes when I feel like writing something which she won't understand now,
Yeah.
a friend of mine gave me the
That's
idea,
great,
but
yeah.
I write to her very randomly,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I've kept it whenever she's grown
Yeah.
up to understand.
Yeah.
I'll give her the access
I
and
have
the
I have
password.
something similar, but for exes, where I can't get in touch with them now.
What's the purpose?
So I just write the letter.
You need to let go.
Burn your computer.
I don't have to let go.
Fair.
I think in my case, it came from the fact that, I lost my mother very early on, right?
Yeah.
So I would miss her,
Yeah.
hearing, okay, what would she say about growing up, parenting, or what would she say about. So I said, oh, this is a cool idea. Even if I die whenever I have to die,
Yeah.
she would maybe probably understand my point of view at that point of time
Yeah.
about a particular thing.
Yeah.
I feel that you use technology in
No,
your
that's
best
such
possible.
a best way to use
Yeah.
technology.
I want to
Yeah.
safeguard all my mom's recipes. There's no real way of I should start doing it now more
Yeah.
than ever, because I'm most of the recipes are verbally handed down to my sisters, who are both terrible cooks. So they just
So my mother was a very good cook, and I'm a good cook, but I never got a chance to kind of learn from her. But there's a diary which is almost like 30 years old diary,
Yeah.
which I have from her, where she's written us time pe jam ka recipe and this recipe.
Nice.
So that's that's something that I hold on in her own handwriting.
Yeah.
such a
Which is-
totem that is I've noticed so many families have that. Janam, who used to work at IVM, she's a friend of ours, and at once just chilling at a place, and she had a diary of her dad's her dad's passed away, right? So this beautiful diary of just old memories, and I'm not related to her or anything, but I was so transfixed by the whole idea of a handmade journal, 40 years old,
Yeah.
still kept. That's the only little connection you have to your father,
Yeah.
right? And such a beautiful thing.
Just to add to this, it shows culture in such a way where we also have these old of my great granddad and all, but they're all accounts, man. They're all accounts.
Yeah, Dhaniya 3
It's
rupees.
fucking hisab. It's pages
I would have been
and
surprised
pages.
if there was something else, Akash.
It's so much, and the hisab is amazing to read. Also, it's like 8 बच्चों का दिवाली का पटाखा,
चोपड़ा.
and it's literally my great grandmother is writing 8 बच्चों का पटाखा खरीदा ₹1.5.
Yeah,
इस साल
yeah.
भाव बढ़ गया है. And I'm just like, shit. What was this world they were living in?
Yeah.
But it's such a fascinating thing because, and I want to talk about this. I used to see when my dad was in the job, and he's a retired
Yeah.
IPS officer, so he would write his diary during the year, note down significant things, and he has those year. I think somewhere and I want to talk about some subconscious learning, right? I saw that, so I started writing when I was a very, very small, when I was very young, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 7, 8, and my daughter's doing the same thing. And it's interesting how those things, and now when I write on Instagram or social media, it doesn't seem like it's something new. And I always thought I was not creative. I always thought I couldn't write because I've not done it. But when I started writing, and you know that journey, Akash, when I started writing, I realized that, but I've been writing for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And that subconscious learning helped me so much, and my daughter's doing the same thing now.
And that's great.
Yeah.
And with Anshu, it's like this. I've noticed she's the classic example of a flower that can't see itself. So the flower, or you know what I mean? Like a rose doesn't know it smells sweet.
Ah.
I
Because
don't
it
think
doesn't
any
have a
flower
nose.
can see itself, dude. I don't think flowers have eyes, no?
Yeah. What?
How will any flower...
No, that's what I'm saying. So a flower can't see itself, a rose
Acha.
can't smell itself. Anshu didn't realize she's creative, but it's because you're so close to yourself that you don't see yourself
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
context.
खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना. That's what they say.
कि ऊपर वाला भी पूछे रजाई क्यों नहीं ले आया. I remember राजू श्रीवास्तव.
तेरी वो क्या है? Something.
हाँ, so वही.
Yeah, full quote याद नहीं रखते हम.
Full quote याद नहीं रखते.
For the full quote, subscribe on YouTube.
No, but it's very interesting that you said that, like, you know, like there's an aspect to motherhood, as you said, that is so. And I think it's okay to keep some things to yourself also. When you have these feelings, I write a lot of stuff. Some of it goes on like mediums like Vice or like, script writing or like comedy writing.
Yeah.
But there are things I write just for myself.
Yeah.
And that is great. Like I used to keep a folder on my laptop called Clusterfuck. Whenever I had a mind fuck full of situations, I would go and write on that. And then Abhi found out, like, he's like, yo, what is Clusterfuck? I'm like, you jana.
Yeah.
So I really and
but that's one great thing with Shubho and I, because she also has this whole writing things down wala thing. And she has 4 of them, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't know what her internal system is, but sometimes
I also have multiple.
तो कोई उठाती है उसमें फिर कभी-कभी frustrate होके 2 books साथ में लिखती है and all that jazz. But they're always, and like we made it a point कि all of my personal stuff and all of her personal stuff is always next to each other stuff. You know what I mean? It's always within reach, but it's like a way of saying I trust you with this. I know you're not going to touch it. So it stays there and it'll stay there and nobody's going to move it around.
So I've been writing for now, I mean, since I was 7, 8 or whatever. But I didn't realize that it was so important and eventually it will become such a huge part of my personality. So, something very interesting. When I started creating Naveen, and Aakash has been like privy to this entire journey of mine, I realized that it was such a healing process. Not because I was just sharing it with the world. It was because I was getting to know myself, because I was keeping a huge part of what I was writing or creating to myself.
Correct.
And I continue to do so. One of the things that I think happened post-COVID, this entire process of creating the podcast, meditation in my case, etc., led me to start internalizing so much that now I create for myself. I might not necessarily put it out, but what I create is so much of worth of gold for my own self that it's helped me become a better person.
Yeah. No, I also feel like, especially when it comes to writing physically in a thing on a paper. Okay, the book or the notepad ka that screen are one of the few things in the world left where the thing is not trying to get your attention constantly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The phone is constant. Like even if I'm typing on the phone, there's some notification, something or the other keeps coming.
Yeah.
But with a notebook, it's like if I leave the notebook on that shelf for the day, the notebook will never tell me, सुनना, देखना, discount देखना. तो ये notebook नहीं करता है कभी. So then it becomes a more like I trust that relationship a lot more.
Yeah, I notice myself now stripping down most of like what technology has helped me with.
Yeah.
And it's okay to go back to like the bare bones of it all. Like, it's
certain
okay.
things are fine without excessive technology.
Absolutely.
In fact, interesting, both of you are talking about this. So somewhere around, in November or something, I just felt that there was so much of stuff going out around me, right?
Yeah.
So I said, what if I don't create anything?
Yeah.
Not just create, what if I don't consume anything, right? And I just go bare bones in terms of data around me, which included not reading, and I'm a reader. So I read a lot, which included not reading anything, which included not consuming anything, which also included not creating anything. All of these. And for the next 2 months, I didn't technically do any of these things. So no year-round stuff and all of that. Kuch nahi kiya. Padha bhi nahi, which means I unfollowed almost 1,500 accounts on my Instagram. I'm in the business, so I do follow a lot of people, right? The kind of impact it had on me was massive. Because now when I look back, I say I don't want to read. What it was doing was that data of somebody dancing on the reel, or that data of somebody saying कि 10 तरीके आप अपने finance को कैसे save कर सकते हो, ये कर सकते हो. अच्छा है, वो अच्छा है. It doesn't work for me. What you need to go back and see is, what is my priority right now? I realize that when I'm following certain people on social media, I'm actually putting out, in some sense, different priorities. I don't need to do that. And similarly when I'm reading, similarly when I'm writing, I started kind of bringing myself back into a smaller this thing. It's helped me calm down a lot. When I say calm down, I mean like, not have 2,000 ideas in my head, and just focus on like 3 or 4 important things that one's doing at any point of time, which I think all of us kind of need to do.
Yeah.
I'm fully getting back into reading now. Like when I went to Goa, I finally like I'm finishing one book on this vacation.
Yeah.
I'm sick of this two books a year. What is like? I used to be one of those guys. Oh, blanket के नीचे torch लगा के bathroom में बैठ के 4 घंटे 5 घंटे. Like the toilet seat makes a mark on your bum by that time. Like that's how bad it was.
Because but I also feel like the videos part of life has really eaten into that.
Yeah.
A lot of
Absolutely.
things where I would have picked up an article or a book, I'm watching a video now.
So I've stopped watching videos.
Same,
You
same.
go back to, if you have to learn, see, if you have to, then you have to be very clear. You are there for entertainment,
Yeah.
right? If you have to learn that, keep that time and say, this is what I'm learning and these are the notes
Correct.
out of it.
Yeah.
Cordoning of time, I think, is
Then
become
you
very
still
important.
get something in the written form.
Right.
If I'm watching a YouTube video on how to, whatever that how to is,
Yeah.
you have 10 pointers, then that makes sense. Ultimately, तो आप आ गए ना written word पे.
Yeah. So
That's
even
fine.
घूम फिर के, like even these people who are making YouTube video essays, they're making an entire script and then working on
Yeah,
it,
of
right?
course.
So I prefer the again going
Yeah.
back to the bare bones of it
Bare
all. Like
bones.
tell me exactly how you talk.
Yeah.
Don't make it a presentation all of it, right?
Right.
So now when I'm reading a book, I've realized that kitna distraction, dude, kitna like my phone is not even vibrating. It's just like पढ़े कभी होता है ना कि उसका oh जाना गया मेरे में. I'm like क्या हो गया मेरे phone को? It's not required. It's such an important task to like alienate yourself from that.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
part of why I got the other phone, because this phone has all the social media.
Like Akash's solution was like one.
Get
one
one more technology. That's the
Capitalism.
He's like, this phone
no,
is
that's
annoying me
getting
too
more
much.
infused into it.
No,
No,
Like, you're going the Muslim
but
marriage
my
route.
my long route is to move to a dumb phone. Like I want to move to a dumb phone. I want a phone.
But the point of the matter is that you'll never be able to move to a dumb phone till you are in this business,
Right.
So
Right.
you might as well just switch to one phone
Yeah.
and change your habits in a manner where you're not
But
dependent.
then the line will go down, the GDP line. And we need the GDP line to go
Yeah.
up.
I know some people who use app locks.
The line has to go up, guys. Remember, that's the only religion. Line
The-
has to go up.
What line?
Whatever the line, doesn't matter. It should go up. Green is
Listen,
good, red is bad.
Listen, you can increase the line by creating more Chopras and more accounts, more क्या बोलते हैं logbooks
Oh.
with the family.
Oh, like that.
Yeah, धंधा और करो ना.
Dando.
Dando.
Very
Yeah.
important. But like Anshu and I really bonded on that, from day one.
Yeah.
We were both like, yes, we are both in this creative field, but हम लोग को समझ में आता है कि दुनिया इकोनॉमिक्स पे चलता है,
Yeah.
तो हम उस अप्रोच से आगे बढ़ेंगे सिर्फ.
Yeah, no, we have, I think, very similar views on life in that sense.
And
Similar
priorities also,
Yes.
like I mean, it was so nice to meet somebody who was like, हाँ, family भी है और काम भी है और दोनों ही करने का, ऐसा कैसा एक ही करने का जरूरत नहीं है.
Yeah.
So it felt fucking great to have that. That's
Yeah.
why, like sometimes when Anshu and I are talking and she'll be like, I don't know, am I spending enough time as a mom? Am I giving enough time to the kid? And I'm like, listen, I grew up with a mom who was working the entire time. And like, I know a bad working mom from a good one. Because
Yeah, for sure.
I experienced a great one. You know?
Yeah.
So like, you're on track. Like, you're doing great. You don't have to worry about anything.
It's actually nice to, have, so generally a woman will have more women friends, female friends to talk, or her partner, husband, whatever, right? But it's nice to have friends in the business
Yeah.
who you can talk this stuff about.
Yeah.
With Aakash, it was a different perspective because, he was talking from Dina auntie's this thing. It was always very nice to hear saying, okay, no, but mom used to do this and it's fine, Anshu.
Yeah.
Like, simple stuff. Like one thing I remember, and I will tell this to any working mom, because I've been the kid who was on the benefiting end of this. If your kid calls you, okay, if you miss the first one, get the second one. Just don't miss the call. Even if you can't help the kid on the call, just be like, yes, I'm here.
You're never there to help the kid, by the way.
The kid will figure it out on their own.
Irrespective
or-
of-
yeah.
We got 3 calls, right?
Yeah.
We've been on this podcast
Bus didi.
because her bottle broke
Yeah.
in the bus. So
Oh fuck! I have a funny story about the bus. Okay, when I was in first grade, I was in Secretariat school right here, boys'
Yeah.
school, and they had like some parents would pick their kids up. Some people had bus system for those who live far away, right? One day I'm sitting after school, and most of the school is gone, and my mom has not come to pick me up. So I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? I'm bored. And then the bus conductor comes and says, "Bus wale chalo mere saath." I go with him.
oh God.
I just start walking with a random stranger. उसका हाथ पकड़ के मैं चल रहा हूँ. Our school का secretariat, if you've seen the compound, it's a massive compound. The bus is
Yeah.
parked over there. There's a school ka entrance. My mom is walking through the gate. I see my mother, and I just ignore her.
Oh God.
Then?
I keep walking with him.
Huh.
I'm like, I want to see what the bus is about. I want a bus life.
Then?
I'm 5 years old, dude. So like,
Yeah.
my mom sees me. She's like, oh, this boy looks like my child,
Yeah.
but maybe he's going to the bus guide. Maybe he's not my child. She goes to the office And she's like, where's my child? And she's like, he just went with the bus guy. So my mom is now running to the courtyard and bus had just started and they're like, कि मेरा बच्चा दे दो मेरे को.
Oh my God. I mean,
I would have ended up somewhere in Santa Cruz. I don't know where, but I was
It's
like,
terrible.
yeah, I
By
had some
the-
crazy experiences.
Yeah.
But
You
I
know,
was also
if it would have been a parent of today,
yeah.
अब तक वो show cause notice आ गया होता.
I'm surprised that kids don't have chips embedded under their skin right now.
Yeah.
कि like, किधर है मेरा बच्चा?
There's
We
a
have
Black Mirror episode.
location
Of
tracking.
tracker for the bus? Whoa. Wow. Surveillance everywhere. You
Yeah.
know, even when I was coming.
Also, the watches, you know about the watches, right?
The what?
So there are these new kind of watches where
For kids.
they can receive 2 calls and you can track their location via Bluetooth,
right.
GPS.
Wow. और क्या चाहिए लाइफ में बताओ?
Almost chip तो आ ही गई.
मेरे माँ बाप को पता ही नहीं रहता था कि 12-12 घंटे ये कहाँ है, किसके साथ खेल रहा
Yeah,
है.
It's
dude.
a very different parenting from
Yeah.
what it used
I was
to
just
be.
telling my editor recently, and she's not picking my article up, but it's okay. I was telling her, like, I was talking about the risks I've taken as a gay man when I was younger, okay, and when I was not out of the closet.
Yeah.
Like, I remember this one night at 1 in the morning after work. I used to work at 2 to 11 shift. At 1 in the morning, I've gone to meet a guy in Vasai. Okay, and he's like, I'll pick you up. I'll get my car from the station. And we go to an abandoned parking lot where I'm like basically giving him a BJ, right? But my fear was like, if I die right now in this
Yeah,
parking lot,
nobody will know.
find me. My mom and dad have no idea I'm here, okay?
Yeah.
So it was just like, and the risks I've taken, I'm like, I do sometimes talk to my mom now after all these years.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've taken some stupid risks because I was exploring myself and everything. But I'm still scared to tell her all the details because
Yeah.
she's like, what
but
the fuck?
I mean, it is scary. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? If you're a parent and your kid is like sex, no, I mean, no, I'm trying to make this in a sense where
You guys are freaking me out.
if your kid is straight,
That's
okay.
bound to happen. The child will grow up one day, you know?
Yeah, but
We've
if
all
you're-
grown up.
Yeah. But if you want, like, if your kid is straight, then at least the kid will have the balls to tell you something's going terribly wrong.
Yeah.
But the environment is so bad if the kid is gay that the
Yeah.
kid doesn't have the balls to tell you also
Yeah.
something happens. So communication, right?
And happened to so many of my friends where they've been like, whacked or like they've been looted on gunpoint and stuff
Yeah.
like that, on knife point in like
Oh shit.
Cotton Green and some bumfuck areas where nobody goes.
Right.
King Circle ke paas. It's so scary.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I think in India, essentially at that point, if my parents would have made it comfortable for me to open about this aspect of
Yeah,
my
then
life,
you would not have.
I would not have taken that many risks,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
to say.
Ah,
That's
well.
it's crazy times.
But hey, on that note,
yeah, yeah.
that-
Kids talk to your parents.
Yeah.
Parents talk to your kids. Don't
Yeah.
send each other letters like.
and
stuff
you're
like
a
that
great
because-
mom, so you don't stress.
Thank
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
you're doing great.
Awesome.
But thank you so much for coming and giving us your time. Finally, this has happened after so
Finally.
much effort.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much for
Yes.
calling me and
Yeah.
Not at all.
chatting with me.
Yeah.
And
no.
today's movie recommendation is Mommy Dearest.
Thank you for making it to the end of the video. I commend your attention span.
Which means you're an OG fan.
And if you're an OG fan, then we have something that you're gonna absolutely love. Varta Lab is starting memberships.
They're going prime, baby.
No, don't worry, we're not gonna reduce the number of episodes you get every week. You still get the same episode, but with memberships you get it earlier. You get clips and bits you don't get in the episode. You might get to watch the episode being taped live, raw and uncut. And also come to live Varta Lab recordings in your city or in our city, wherever you are.
Yeah, so many benefits, only one podcast.
Varta Lab.